From the inside looking out, this is the Van Essentials sliding door bug screen installation tips and review. I just completed this literally just 30 seconds ago in starting the video, so I haven't been able to test this in the field. I can tell you the installation process is anywhere from easy to moderately difficult, depending on how detailed you want to be about the installation. Upon completion, there are some gaps. It's good quality overall. It is made in China, but what isn't anymore? We don't have much of a choice. Down here, this didn't line up correctly, so there's a gap there. That may be a quality control issue. And also, these are not exact fit, because you have to try to this is where the install becomes time consuming, is you have to try to figure out how to place the clips, and you're just going to have to guess and guess and guess and redo it over and over until you finally get it right. So that's my biggest complaint. This is not exact fit. It does fit, but you have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to get it to fit. Somebody could install this in about 30 minutes, and then it wouldn't be exact fit, but it would kind of work. It would be off center someplace, most likely. So I'm going to step outside and show. The handle is too far down for me. I'm 6'4". I can't even reach it unless I stoop way down. So they actually should have another one up here for taller people, or maybe it's in that location on purpose, so you pull more from the center, so it opens better. I don't like that, how far down I have to stoop. Now look, it did close really well, and that's outstanding considering that this is I installed it within about 1 hour, about an hour and a half actually, due to repositioning the clips. But that's pretty good, and the magnets do seem strong enough to do the job, as opposed to the less expensive options from China. Yeah, that's really good. I really like that, and I didn't have to readjust very much in order for this to be opening and closing correctly. So the fortunate thing is, readjusting is more for the bottom, to try to get this bottom to not be too long or too short, is where most of your readjusting is going to be. It is not going to be here, so that makes it a much more pleasant install. Because if you're trying to readjust for this, from my past experience dealing with the cheaper screens, that is difficult. So some of the tips I have when installing this, contrary to what the instructions say, the instructions say start in the center and do maybe a 1 foot section at a time to prevent having the weather strip be very difficult to reinstall. I noticed when I pull down in the center, this weather strip pretty much all falls down to the floor. And so when that happens, I just go ahead and clean the rim, and then the starting point I recommend, once you clip up the screen on each corner, I would start in the lower left, and that is because that's where they have the zipper. And so I would recommend attaching the zipper as close to the edge as possible, like I did here, because what that does is it moves the opening further this way, where you do want it going as far that way as possible and not up here, especially if you're stepping in to the left of it. You don't want to, it's not a real big thing, but to me it's more desirable. Wow, that actually opens and closes pretty good. I think the magnets ideally would be, let me see, those are the rare earth magnets. See, that's about perfect. You don't want it too tight and you don't want it too loose. You don't want to have to struggle to open it. And so that's, for the average person, I really think they did a perfect job on that, or as best as they practically could do. There are some small gaps in there, but that's normal, I think. So yeah, I got this lined up really good. This is a 2018 Ford Transit. As far as this inconsistency here, it looks like that may be a result of how I couldn't get, I don't know what it is. I tried pulling this down. I guess if I try hard enough, I can readjust up here the clips to get this side here to come down further. But as long as this is opening and closing without too much difficulty, I'm happy with that. I don't anticipate like a whole bunch of bugs coming in there. I mean, if there are, I could put a little block down here because I don't really step in and out there anyway, so that won't get in the way to put a little block there. In fact, that sounds like a pretty good idea. I could actually just screw this down to the base floor down there and make that a tight fit, because down here it doesn't have to be really moving freely like this. So yeah, I could do that. Screw that down right there, and that ought to make it possibly operate even better. So getting back to over here, where to start, once the screen is clipped on top and your whole seal has fallen down, I would start way down here. And if you have this blockage like I do, then you can fold this in like I did here. I'm probably gonna remove this thing here. I think this is just decoration that I don't need anymore with this screen. That way the door can close and open, or it can close better than what it does now. These white markers, I'll explain those later. Those position here. This one marker here positions either here or here for the door close options, which I'll go ahead and explain that now that I mentioned it. So on my sliding door, I used a Dremel to cut, I don't know if you call those divots. I cut little pieces out right there so that the roller will act as a stopper when it hits those spots. See how the white lines up there? So it stops there and there's a stopper there. But for the installation process, you want the door completely open. One tool they didn't mention that I recommend is what is this called? A mallet, a plastic hammer mallet. Especially when you're done, you'll want to bang your weather strip in place all over to get it tight. Now where there's a curve, I find those the most difficult to get tight. Like especially the top corner curves are hard to reposition real well. And that may be the reason why they recommend 1 foot at a time. But in my case, the whole damn thing just fell down. So I didn't have any option. But so when you install on the left side first, then you notice there's going to be a bigger gap here. As this curve, you're going to compensate. They did provide plenty of clips, the big size and the little size. These are actually left over, so you can be very, what's the term, aggressive with the conservative with the usage of those. All right, so yeah, overall I do recommend it. The handles, I think, should be bigger. It should be a bigger strap that sticks out a little further, so it's easier to grab, especially for bigger people like me. Because this, I guess 2 fingers is okay, but yeah, I just don't. That's better than nothing. At least there is a handle, but and overall, I could not do a better job building this. Because I've tried building some of these on my own, and so this is worth paying the $220 for. So yeah, that's or $230, whatever it is. I think this. I ordered mine on Amazon instead of through a small business. I think the manufacturer is a small business, but the reason I ordered on Amazon is because of the return policy is a lot easier, as opposed to if I ordered it from a van builder company, then they would be really picky about if I wanted to return it if it were like new, and now it's not. It's been actually cut, but if I decide to return this, I can still do it even though it's cut, and it's a free return. But even though there's a retailer who sells these close to me, I'm in North Port, Florida. Sarasota has one that was kind of attractive. If I bought through them, I could go to them for assistance. But my strategy was go ahead and get the one on Amazon so that I can try it myself and avoid the drive out to Sarasota. And so far it's successful. I don't think I need anyone's help. I think this is done. I did leave a lot of slack. Oh look, we have a I forgot the name, a sandhill crane. Tidy, get back here. Tidy, come back. That's a mating pair of sandhill cranes. Tidy, come back. That's one of the cool things about living in Florida. Katana, Tidy, come back. Leave the sandhill cranes. Look how big they are. They're taller than either one of these dogs. These are hand fed. If it weren't for these 2 dogs, I could walk up to them and touch them. But Katana, come home. Go home. I have another video about the exterior enhancements I made there. What are they doing? Katana, get over here. They're hopping. Wow, those are happy sandhill cranes. I haven't seen them for at least 6 months. I think they're seasonal. There's your bonus. Wonder how many millions of years that species has been around. Certainly a lot longer than humans. All right, back to business over here. So yeah, do be generous with the clips. I didn't really need these much, and although they seem strong, they don't really help much. Maybe for that first initial placement up there. Sometimes I need more than 2 to hold this weather stripping up, which can be difficult to hold up. because it likes to fall down. That's not the fault of the screen maker, Van Essentials. That's not their fault. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's pretty simple. I recommend start lower left, work your way up, across. As you're working your way across, pay attention to make this about 1 inch lower than this what's this called, a step? This median step right here. I would not make it touch it, but go down another inch. And the reason is because once you put the weather strip up, it's going to be pulling this up an inch. So what I mean is up here, sag this down an extra inch than what you think it's going to be, so that this will hang down to about here instead of up here. Because when you go to push the weather stripping in, all of a sudden this is going to get pulled up, and you don't want a gap there, although that's not tragic to have a gap there. Ideally, the final install, I think, is going to be with this seam touching this step, approximately touching it. And then what complicates it, you have this thing here that sticks out further than the rest, so you can't possibly make it perfect, but yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see here. It does look like a high quality product. The screen itself will not allow anything at all to go through, to include no seams. Now you can't see because it's the final install, but these clips, there are so many of them that you can install them about every 3 inches all the way across. And the reason there are 2 different sizes is because the thickness of this metal will vary throughout. Sometimes it'll be single layer and sometimes double layer requiring a thicker clip. Now the frustrating thing is the clips are hard to reposition, because to get them off the fabric and reposition it. Oh, by the way, right there, that's not a snake bite, that's fire ant bite. That's one thing about being a homeowner in Florida, you will get bit by fire ants sooner or later. Yeah, my main concern is this thing preferably closing on its own without me having to manually. For some reason it worked better when I was inside. I wonder why that is. You can just kind of wiggle it a little bit like that. That's no big deal. So that's a lot easier to just kind of wiggle this around a little bit to get it to close than it is to deal with this big monster here. I think a recommendation for the manufacturer is include several of these. Have one here, here, and here for people of different heights, inside and out. Won't hurt anything for them to have done that, especially on the inside. So on the outside, I'm pretty tall, and that's actually just right for me. But once I'm inside, now I want it up higher, because that's about a 3-foot difference there. But I suppose I could install my own. I'm not a seamstress, so somehow I can put a handle on there. The factory version of this did have a handle installed right there, and I removed it because now it's impractical to use that handle, which I never used anyway. They do make the ones for the front windows, which I don't really want, and for the back, which I don't want either. And that's because I have an air conditioner, so I don't, if it's hot, I don't roll my windows down and use shades. I just simply turn the air conditioner on. Okay, I just paused the video and I did screw in this down here, and you and I are going to be the first to see how much that helps or hurts. So it does look a lot better. that way. That's not a stainless steel screw. I need to replace it with a stainless steel one. So let's see what happens. I like how that stays in place better there, but it doesn't make the connection any easier so far. That's the first attempt. So the thing is, that right there is hitting the step, and so I think ideally this needs to be raised up just a tiny bit. Yeah, that's what's going on. So I have a choice for it to close better if I raise it up, with the risk that bugs will come in underneath. So because the whole idea is to keep the bugs out, I think I'm going to leave it like it is. That's not bad at all. That's actually near perfect. I'm spending a lot of time showing you how the various opening and closing goes, because that's the most important thing of all. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Pretty good. And I also want to put some wear and tear on it to simulate over a course of time what's going to happen. So I'm putting accelerated wear and tear on it right now for a quality test and see what happens. Pretty good. I don't want to screw down anything here, because if I do, then I can't roll it up, because that's what these straps are for. If I have the option, to roll this up, which I don't plan on ever doing, because I want to always keep the bugs out. Pretty nice. Yeah, I think it's a keeper. I won't be returning it. Even if it lasts just 2 years, that's worth it. I think I predicted it'll last 7, but just 2 would be worth it for me to keep these damn bugs out. It also provides a little bit of privacy. Although I'm happy with the fit, I'm still going to leave this slack here. And you can see over here, there is no slack, because this is mounted as far left as possible, where I got that zipper as far that way as I could possibly get it. In fact, it may be a little bit too far that way, because it's kind of getting into that it's kind of getting a little too close to that weather strip. Yep. Okay, well, that's the best I can do. What do you think?